Every day, more than 40 million Americans eat fast food. Taco Bell alone sells nearly 2 billion tacos each year, a figure published by Taco Bell and QSR magazine in 2023. But this isn't just about a cheap, quick meal. This is an industrial revolution, right in the American kitchen. You think you're eating beef? Think again. Back in 2011, NPR reported Taco Bell was sued because their meat filling contained only 35% real beef. What's the rest? You'll want to know. Originally, tacos were a type of street food dating back to the 18th century in Mexico. Miners used soft corn tortillas to wrap spicy meat for a quick break-time meal. The word taco originally meant explosive, a paper-wrapped charge used to blow up rock. It was cheap, hot, spicy, and fresh. Then Glenn Bell appeared, a white entrepreneur from California. He didn't invent the taco. He watched Mexicans sell it, then thought, why not box it and sell it to white people? So he copied the recipe, stripped out traditional spices, and invented the pre-made crispy taco shell, something that could be packaged, refrigerated, and served in 30 seconds. Thus, the taco transformed from a fresh street dish into a frozen product with a 6-month shelf life. And behind that crispy shell is an entire production line you've never seen. The story begins with 50-kilogram sacks of corn, lined up along the intake corridor at processing facilities like Teasdale Foods. Workers use forklifts to pour each sack into large stainless steel vats, not to make porridge, but to initiate a process called nixtamalization, adding water, adding alkaline additives, calcium hydroxide, and heating the corn until the hulls burst and the kernels soften from the core. After several hours, the mixture is discharged into large tubs, cooled, and soaked again in cold water. The steps of rinsing, draining, filtering are repeated at least 3 times to remove the loosened corn hulls. What remains is the core of the corn, now reborn, ready to enter the industrial grinder. The grinder transforms the corn kernels into a distinct wet dough called masa. Masa is not dry like wheat flour, nor runny like paste. It is thick, elastic, and subtly fragrant with the scent of boiled corn. This dough is transferred to a mixing machine, salt is added, and the mass is blended into a uniform texture. From here, the line runs continuously. The masa dough is rolled out to exactly 1.2 millimeters thick, then stamped into round discs measuring 12 to 13 centimeters in diameter. The freshly formed discs are immediately fed into a conveyor oven, with temperatures ranging from 180 to 200 degrees Celsius. The baking time lasts 40 to 50 seconds. Right afterward, the shells enter a cold air cooling system to rapidly lower their temperature, preserving structure and preventing moisture buildup. Once cooled, each flat disc is stacked into piles of 12 to 24 pieces by an automated system. Notably, at this stage the shells are still flat, circular pieces. The familiar U shape, the hallmark of a crispy taco, is not formed at the factory, but instead at Taco Bell stores, during reheating as part of the assembly process. At large meat processing plants in the Midwest, the heart of America's beef supply chain, Taco Bell's seasoned beef is mass-produced daily, reaching up to 450,000 kilograms per week. Inside these facilities, operations are divided into distinct zones that run continuously along an industrial production line. The first is the slaughter area, where cattle are brought in, stunned, and killed using automated equipment. The carcasses are then moved to the butchering zone, where mechanical saws, rotating blades, and conveyor belts work non-stop to break down the bodies, removing bones, excess fat, and unwanted parts. The trimmed meat is then sent to the grinding and mixing area for further processing according to a precise recipe. The main ingredient is standard ground beef, 80-20, combined with water, oat flour, isolated soy protein, onion and garlic powder, thickening agents like maltodextrin, and a proprietary spice blend. The mixture is blended in industrial machines based on preset recipes, then par-cooked to a core temperature of about 71 degrees Celsius, cooled, and vacuum sealed in thick nylon bags. Each bag contains about 2.2 kilograms of meat filling, enough for over 50 tacos. They are shipped to Taco Bell stores frozen and can be reheated in a low-pressure steam oven within 30 minutes. In 2011, the law firm Beasley Allen filed a lawsuit against Taco Bell, claiming their seasoned beef contained only 35% actual beef, the rest made up of fillers like oats, soy, spices, and water. Taco Bell strongly denied the allegations, stating their product was 88% USDA-inspected beef, with the rest being supporting ingredients. After a large-scale media campaign, the lawsuit was dropped. No ruling, no change in advertising. And you, what do you think? After learning this, do you still want to eat that taco? If yes, like the video. If not, comment and tell us why. Have you noticed that no one washes vegetables in Taco Bell stores? That's because all the lettuce, tomatoes, onions, and cheese are pre-processed at specialized facilities, mainly from Taylor Farms, one of the largest industrial produce suppliers in the U.S. Lettuce is pre-cut, washed in a sanitizing solution, then chilled and portioned into standard serving packs. Its average shelf life is 10 to 14 days. Tomatoes are also washed, diced by machines, and vacuum sealed to retain their shape and prevent water leakage during serving. Cheddar cheese is pre-shredded and coated with a thin layer of starch powder to prevent clumping and extend shelf life. All vegetables and toppings are distributed in refrigerated trucks at 0 to 4 degrees Celsius, delivered from regional warehouses to individual Taco Bell stores 2 to 3 times per week, depending on sales volume. Sauces at Taco Bell are not mixed at the counter either. They are mass-produced at factories specializing in liquid food processing, such as Ken's Foods or Ventura Foods, capable of handling millions of liters of sauce each month. In the ingredient area, chili peppers are the primary component and also the first to be processed. Dried or fresh peppers are fed into high-capacity grinders, turning them into a smooth paste with a distinct deep red color. The sharp aroma of chili fills the air, causing a mild burning sensation in the throat even from a distance. From the grinding area, the chili mixture is transferred to the mixing zone. The remaining ingredients, concentrated tomato, vinegar, spices, and thickeners, are added in fixed proportions that do not vary between batches. The ingredients are fed into an automated mixing tank, large, steel, and sealed. Inside, mechanical paddles stir the mixture continuously. Each batch takes several dozen minutes to complete, depending on the type of sauce. Technicians monitor the entire process. They take samples on-site to evaluate consistency, color, and flavor. If anything is off, adjustments are made directly while the batch is still mixing. Once the mixture meets specifications, it passes through a rapid heating system for sterilization, then is cooled immediately. Each batch of sauce is produced and packaged within a few hours, then shipped directly to Taco Bell locations around the world. Once all the ingredients arrive at the store, the process shifts to assembly mode, fast, precise, and standardized. Each service line is divided into stations: shell, meat, vegetables, toppings, sauce. Every component is pre-portioned. No measuring needed, no tasting required. Just follow the assembly chart. Preheated crunchy taco shell. 43 grams of seasoned beef. Some lettuce and diced tomatoes. A pinch of shredded cheddar cheese. 1 pump of sauce. Total time per taco, under 20 seconds. Each day, a single store can assemble over 2,000 tacos, serving continuously during peak hours. From the taco assembly line in the US, we move to another icon, just as crispy, but far more contradictory than you might think: fish and chips. A national dish of the UK, but no stranger to Americans. Whether you call it fried fish and fries, British takeout, or simply pub food, you've seen it, maybe eaten it, and almost certainly have no idea where it comes from. Fish and chips emerged in the 19th century, a working-class dish, cheap, easy to eat, sold on the streets. Cod fried in cast-iron pans, hand-cut potatoes, wrapped in newspaper, enough energy for a full day's work. But that was over 100 years ago. Today, over 90% of the cod and haddock used in fish and chips no longer comes from the UK. They're caught in Norway, Iceland, or Russia, frozen in Europe, and refried in a shop thousands of kilometers from the sea. We followed the journey of a frozen fillet, from icy seas, through a fish filleting plant in Lithuania, to the industrial fryers of a budget chain in London. piece of fish and chips looks simple, but the production behind it? Not simple at all. Before it lands on a paper tray with fries, the fish goes through a long journey from deep sea to processing plant. And it all starts here, in the cold waters of the North Atlantic, where fishing is no longer a craft but an industrial operation. Fleets use large-scale bottom trawls or long lines, running continuously on fixed routes, based on quotas, not seasons. A large trawler can haul in 20 to 40 tons of cod or haddock per trip, enough to supply thousands of fish and chips portions. On board, the fish is cleaned, headed, size graded, then chilled with seawater ice or crushed ice, keeping the temperature consistently below 4 degrees Celsius. The entire pre-processing is completed within hours of the catch, and the fish is landed at port within 24 to 48 hours. With massive demand from restaurants, supermarkets, and the fish and chips industry, the UK now imports up to 90% of the white fish used in this dish. Once ashore, the fish is transported to processing plants, mainly in Lithuania, Poland, the Netherlands, and Germany, where labor costs are lower but processing standards remain high. It is skinned, deboned, and cut into standard fillets, weighed down to the gram to ensure consistency in frying. Each day, a factory can process up to 100,000 fish fillets, packed into plastic trays or vacuum-sealed bags, then deep frozen at -40 degrees Celsius to lock in structure and extend shelf life. These cartons are shipped via refrigerated containers across Europe to distribution hubs in the UK, US, or Australia, ready for any chain that needs premium frozen fish fillets. Potatoes are the essential chips in fish and chips. But behind that golden exterior lies a supply chain of its own. Potatoes are grown under contract, harvested in bulk, and sent to cutting facilities, mainly operated by McCain or Lamb Weston. There, they are peeled, uniformly cut, quickly blanched, pre-fried once, and frozen. According to the National Federation of Fish Fryers 2022, the UK alone consumes over 380 million portions of fish and chip style fries each year. The result is pre-fried, frozen potatoes with a shelf life of 6 to 9 months. When needed, just fry again. In the shop, both fillets and fries come straight from the freezer. Fish is dipped in batter, a pre-mixed coating with pH-stabilized ingredients that help maintain crispiness. Each piece is deep fried at 180 to 190 degrees Celsius for around 5 to 6 minutes, forming an even, crispy crust that doesn't crack. Fries are refried for a crispy outside and soft inside. Total time to complete a serving, under 10 minutes, from frozen to tray. In the modern model, fish and chips is no longer just dine-in food. The meal is placed in oil-resistant paper boxes, well-insulated and neatly packed for delivery. Shops use heat lamps or steam-proof warmers to keep portions crispy for 20 to 30 minutes post-frying, enough time to reach customers via platforms like Deliveroo, Uber Eats, or Just Eat. A portion of fish and chips. It looks simple, but behind it is a cross-border production system. Now, let's return to the United States, to a dish called a national icon, featured in cookbooks, at Thanksgiving dinners, and even in political slogans. Apple pie. According to the American Pie Council 2022, Americans consume over 180 million apple pies each year. Most of them are not homemade. They come from factories like Sara Lee, Marie Callender's, or Costco. The apples in the filling aren't peeled by hand, the crust isn't mixed with a spatula, and there's no grandma standing by the oven. So why do we still call it homemade? Apple pie is not an American dish. The earliest known recipe was recorded in 14th century England, using apples, spices, and an unsweetened crust. It wasn't until the 18th century that apple pie reached America with European immigrants. And here, it was Americanized, with added sugar, local apple varieties, and thinner crusts for faster baking. From a humble dessert, it became a pop culture symbol, appearing in car ads, movies, family sitcoms, and even campaign slogans like "As American as Apple Pie." During World War II, American soldiers told reporters they were fighting for mom and apple pie, another way of saying home. But that was back when everything was hand-baked. The first ingredient in modern apple pie is no longer fresh apples from the backyard. Most apples used in industrial pie production are bulk imported from China, Chile, or Washington State, areas with high output, stable prices, and integrated supply chains. Apples are harvested using mechanical shakers or picked in rows, washed in disinfected water, then transported to processing plants. There, skins are removed by high-speed rotating blades. Not one by one, but thousands per hour. A large plant can handle up to 100,000 to 150,000 pounds of apples per day, enough for millions of pies. Next, apples are sliced thin with rotary blades, soaked in citric acid to prevent browning, and lightly treated with calcium chloride to preserve crunch when baked. The apples are frozen immediately after processing, packed in 10 to 25 kilogram bags, then stacked on pallets into refrigerated containers for the next leg of the journey. Apples are just the base. The real flavor comes from the syrup, a standardized mix designed to ensure consistent stickiness, color, and aroma. In large vats, sugar, corn syrup, modified starch, and artificial flavorings are slowly cooked at around 60 degrees Celsius to reach the desired thickness. Cinnamon and nutmeg may be added, sometimes real, sometimes synthetic extracts. This blend is then mixed evenly with frozen apples to create a filling that holds its shape after baking, doesn't leak, doesn't separate, and most importantly, has no surprises. The crust isn't kneaded by hand, and it doesn't always contain butter. Flour is blended with vegetable shortening, cold water, and gluten-modifying additives. The mixture is kept cold to prevent oil separation, then rolled flat into uniform sheets, cut to shape, and placed into aluminum trays. After the filling is added, the top crust is rolled and sealed using air pressure, creating folds and vent holes, mimicking the hand crimping of homemade pies. The pies are then baked in industrial ovens, where the temperature is precisely controlled to ensure a golden crust without melting the filling. A modern production line can finish over 10,000 pie shells per hour, with a margin of error under 1%. If you found this content interesting, don't forget to hit subscribe to Captain Discovery for more surprisingly detailed videos like this. Once assembled, the pies go through a blast freezer at -40 degrees Celsius, chilled in under 20 minutes. Before freezing, some factories spray a layer of caramel or vegetable oil on the crust to ensure a golden color when reheated. After freezing, pies are boxed in cartons, labeled with batch codes and expiration dates, then packed into large crates for cold storage. A frozen apple pie can last 6 to 9 months without structural changes. In supermarkets, warehouses, or your home freezer, the product stays nearly unchanged. At the bakery, grocery store, or at home, the final step is simply reheating. Pies can be baked at 180 degrees Celsius for 45 minutes, or microwaved for a few minutes in quick-bake versions. A crispy crust, glossy apple filling, and wafting aroma. A sweet ending, engineered down to the last baking minute. Not a main dish, but found everywhere. On pizza, in lasagna, in sandwiches. That soft, stretchy white cheese, and a symbol of mainstream Italian cuisine. Mozzarella. Not the most expensive cheese. Not as traditional as Parmesan. Not as sharp as blue cheese. But it's the most consumed cheese in the world. And if you've ever bitten into a piece of hot mozzarella, you've probably wondered, why does this cheese stretch like that? Mozzarella originated in southern Italy, originally made by hand with water buffalo milk, lightly fermented, and stretched in hot water. Its name comes from the verb mozzare, meaning to tear off, describing the action of pulling and cutting pieces of cheese during the stretching process. No rind, no long aging, eaten within a few days. A fresh, soft cheese, quick to spoil, not made for long-distance travel. But today, most mozzarella isn't made from buffalo milk. It's not made in Italy. And it isn't eaten right after being made. It's mass-produced from cow's milk, machine-stretched, vacuum-packed, and designed to melt on frozen pizza in any country. So what makes this cheese still stretch the way it does? We followed the journey from dairy farm to production plant to trace how one of the world's most common ingredients is made. Industrial mozzarella production begins with fresh cow's milk, but not just any milk. Dairy cows are raised in specialized farm systems. They're milked each morning, and the milk must be chilled immediately to around 4 degrees Celsius, then transported to the factory within 3 to 5 hours. At the plant, every milk truck undergoes quick checks. Temperature, fat content, protein level, and pH, the milk's natural mild acidity. The ideal pH is around 6.6 to 6.8. If it's off, the whole truckload can be rejected. Once accepted, the milk is standardized. This means adjusting the ratio of fat and protein by blending in skim milk decreamed or cream to ensure every cheese batch later has the same structure. Next comes flash pasteurization. The milk is heated to 72 degrees Celsius for exactly 15 seconds, then immediately cooled. The goal isn't to cook it, but to kill harmful bacteria while preserving the milk's natural properties. Within minutes, the milk is ready for fermentation. In a large stainless steel vat, lactic starter cultures, a type of good bacteria common in dairy production, are added to the milk. Their role is to slowly lower the milk's pH, gently thickening it without altering its properties. When the pH reaches around 5.9, the enzyme rennet is added. This helps milk proteins bind together into a solid mass, called curd. Within 30 to 40 minutes, the entire vat of liquid milk turns into a soft white gel, resembling silken tofu. At this point, operators use rotating steel blades to cut the gel into small blocks, roughly fingertip-sized. The goal is to separate the liquid whey from the solid curd, which will become cheese. This is the step that transforms mozzarella from a basic fresh cheese into an ingredient that stretches, strings, and melts properly. After fermentation, the curds are soaked in hot water at around 75 to 80 degrees Celsius, just enough to alter the protein structure. Then, the hot curd is transferred into a stretching machine. Inside is a spinning chamber with high-speed paddles, kneading and twisting continuously for 5 to 10 minutes. During this process, milk proteins, which are usually tangled short chains, begin to stretch and reconnect into a flexible, elastic network. And that's what gives mozzarella its signature pull. But for this reaction to happen, the acidity, pH, has to be just right, between 5.2 and 5.4. If the pH is too high, the cheese will be dry and tough. If too low, it'll melt too quickly when baked and lose its form. Once the desired stretch is reached, the cheese is shaped into 125-gram balls, 1 kilogram blocks, or sheets, while still hot and pliable. But that's not the end yet. After shaping, the cheese is still soft, hot, and unstable. To hold its shape, preserve elasticity, and store longer, it needs two things: low temperature and salt. The balls, blocks, or sheets are immediately soaked in cold water for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on size. Quick cooling prevents further melting, fixes the shape, and firms the surface. Next comes the salting step, or brining. Mozzarella is immersed in a brine bath with 18 to 22% salt concentration for 5 to 30 minutes, depending on the product type. Salt not only adds a mild flavor, it also draws moisture from the surface, tightens the outer layer, and helps prevent bacterial growth. Once cooled and salted, mozzarella moves to the packaging area. Mozzarella balls, usually 125 grams to 250 grams, are packed in plastic containers or vacuum-sealed bags. Some products are chilled and stored fresh at 4 degrees Celsius, but most are frozen at -18 degrees Celsius, extending shelf life up to 6 months while maintaining softness and meltability. When it reaches you, just a few minutes in the oven, and that cheese will stretch exactly as expected. Taco, fish, and chips, apple pie, mozzarella. Different dishes, different cultures. But one thing in common, they are all products of a system, where speed, cost, and consistency come first. Now that you know this, Does the food taste the same as before? If you found this video worth watching, don't forget to subscribe to Captain Discovery so you won't miss the next stories.